Tonight on Country Squire Radio, we're pairing up whiskey and pipe tobacco.
Plus a pipe question on how hot your pipe gets.
Quick fire questions, listener feedback, a live studio audience, and more on tonight's Country Squire Radio. Welcome to Country Squire Radio. I'm Bo.
And I'm John David.
JD.
Hey, Bo. Good evening, man.
Man, good evening to you, sir. How you doing tonight?
You know, tonight's good. It's been a long week, dude. There's just a lot going on in pipe smoking world, in Country Squire world,
dude,
in John David Cole world.
Yeah.
And man, yeah, I'm just glad to be here tonight. We've got a fun show and friends that are here.
You know, we mentioned it before, but of course, tonight we're doing something a little bit differently. We've opened it up to an actual live studio audience. Everybody give a round of applause. Hey, we're so happy that y'all are here.
Except we paid all them to be here.
Yes. That's how you got to do it. You go out on Craigslist and you say like, "Hey, who here knows what a podcast is?"
Do they?
And of those people, who here smokes a pipe?
Right.
And then the two people that answered the Craigslist, only one of them was actually within a 50-mile radius, so that worked out pretty well. But yeah, no, man, it's we're excited to be doing this. We got a great Squire Select, which we'll be talking about tonight. Should be a lot of fun. But first, we got a little bit of housekeeping. You know, last week you were not actually on the show. You took a week sabbatical to deal with some family issues. I know a lot of people were writing in. Do you want to kind of address that real quick?
Yeah. Man, it was really moving, frankly, how many folks both called, emailed, and texted and tweeted in and otherwise just kind of checking on me and what was going on. A very close relative of mine, my uncle, has actually just had some health issues crop up recently, and so last week we kind of just had a lot going on with that, and he's not just my uncle, but a very dear friend of mine, someone that I'm just very close to. And so yeah, it's one of those things like when that happens, your whole schedule kind of shuts down. And so we just immediately went into kind of like family triage mode and and started helping with that. But yeah, he is doing well. Actually has had a really dramatic improvement over the past 48 hours. And a couple things I'd like to say. Of course, you had Caleb on the show last week, which was awesome. And I want to thank Caleb for coming on, but also Caleb and two our good friend who's actually here tonight, and Pipe Carver. They both just as my week was really crazy last week. I came down with the virus even after my uncle got sick and was out for a couple days with a fever and all kinds of stuff. But those guys watched the shop and just made life really easy for me.
Man.
And so I just felt like it as difficult as last week was, just with all the support of our community, and also the guys here. It just made it a lot more palatable and easier to get through. And I was I'm just very thankful, and I appreciate all the just prayers and thoughts that folks have sent on behalf of my uncle and our family as well. So anyway, those are greatly appreciated, and it just shows the kind of quality of the community that we've built through this this podcast. So
man, great people in the pipe world, to be sure,
dude. Yeah. I don't know. Every time something like this comes up, I'm always shocked, but then I remember that this is not uncommon for this for this group of people. It's really special. So I was very moved, and so anyway, it's been a crazy week, but we're back in the saddle and up and surrounded by good friends, and we're going to celebrate tonight with some choice beverages and tobacco. So
well, no offense, of course, to the I want to say the late great, but of course the former Tim the intern, then Tim the apprentice. But Caleb the intern, dude, he resonated with a lot of folks. We got some great feedback from having him on the show. A lot of folks chiming in on the subject of coffee and pipe tobacco, and a lot of people really resonated with some of the video game talk that came out of last week as well. So it was great to see that kind of support, and I know that he really appreciates it as well. So
one thing about Caleb, he's for a young guy that's trying to kind of establish his profession and career, like he's super interested in quality. I think that's a big thing in our generation. We want to focus on the small batch artisan. It's not good enough for him to go to the store and buy a bag of Folgers or whatever. He wants to know the roaster, know where the bean came from, and he feels the same way about pipe tobacco. And I think that's why he's such an asset here at the Squire. And he's already worked on a couple of blends. He's actually already finished his first blend. We haven't debuted it yet because we're trying to figure out, navigate some of the FDA stuff. But but it'll be forthcoming at some point.
Could you put it out like what's the date? What's like the kill date for the FDA?
Oh, it was August 8th.
Oh, it was August. Oh, okay. Never mind.
But it's one of those things we at some point that will debut, and I'm just really proud of how he's kind of taken to it and immediately dived in with the experimenting and all that kind of stuff.
Can't we, know how like eBay gets around the whole selling of like tickets, like here, buy this mug that just, and everything that comes with it. And there's like 2 Super Bowl tickets inside the mug. Like, couldn't we do that with tobacco? Like, here, buy this Country Squire Radio mug packed to the brim with brand new tobacco.
Do you want the 2-ounce mug, the 4-ounce mug, or the half-pound mug?
Exactly. That's what we need, man. I think that'd be great. Last week, of course, had some different events. Of course, we had the 3rd annual Midwest Country Squire Radio meetup in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
That was awesome. You had a good turnout, huh?
Huge turnout. It was so great to see everybody, and we had some pizzas, had some wine and whiskey, and great conversation. To me, it felt like a family reunion, more so than actually seeing my actual family that was up there. So it was a lot of fun, and really, I'm all the more looking forward to next year. I don't think it comes soon enough. Even some folks, we were talking a little bit about Chicago in the next Chicago Pipe Show, and people had some ideas on how we can make that a little bit more special and community, give avenues for the community to connect at Chicago as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes.
It's amazing. Like, we just got back from Chicago. I guess it's been a couple of months now, but
that's right,
maybe 3 months, something like that. But, it seems like everyone's already talking about next year so much that I'm anticipating it being right around the corner. We've got like 10 months to go or something, it's just amazing. And I think next year's will be particularly interesting just with all the, activity and movement in the, political stuff and everything, but, just the pipe and tobacco community in general. And man, I don't know. I think next year's Chicago show is going to be really special.
Man, I've already got an idea that's, how I like to spring ideas on you on the show and drive you crazy.
I'm terrified right now.
No. This one,
matter of fact, let me pour myself another drink.
I'll tell you this right now. This one is so big, I'm not even going to bring it on the show. That's how big it is. So I'll hold off.
Yeah, that's best.
But great.
Give me the opportunity to veto it in private.
There you go. That'll be good. But great suggestions did come out of that. And while I was there, of course, you were celebrating an anniversary. Or the shop was, rather.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Last Thursday, August 11th, was the Country Squire's 46th birthday.
Man.
And it's just amazing. Last year, obviously we had a big to-do for 45. This year, a little more muted for 46, but, just kind of the nature of the interim years between kind of a milestone. But, we've been here a long time. And, of course, with me having purchased the shop, just 3 months ago.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's just kind of, there's just a lot of emotional stuff going on right now with the Squire. It's like, man, and I moved some stuff around at the shop. And so that's kind of weird. And people are getting used to a new guy that's the proprietor here. And then we have another birthday, and I don't know. It's a lot
of cigar traffic here.
Yeah, a lot of cigar stuff going on. So
crazy.
Lots of new tin pipe tobacco here, and some God willing new blends coming at some time in the near future. But man, it's just really cool. I've had a lot of folks come in. I think this has been the most meaningful thing that someone has shared with me since I've made the transition. And as I've mentioned to folks that it is our 46th birthday, a lot of folks have said that the shop now feels more like it did in the 70s than it ever has.
Wow.
And I honestly think, these are, some of these folks are, 75, 80-year-old men that are telling me this. And
if they say that it was good back in the day and now it's as good now as it was back in the day.
These are, like that. I don't think a higher compliment could be paid to kind of what we're doing here, and it just feels really special to have that atmosphere reemerging. These are folks that, came to the shop every day when, pipes were king and you could smoke your pipe in the grocery store, and, folks that, would watch Secretariat win the Triple Crown right here in this very corner on TV, stuff like that. It's just, I don't know, man. It's pretty special. So,
well, to quote Andy Sandberg doing his Nicolas Cage impression, that's high praise. You don't know what I'm talking about. SNL. Come on, man. Oh, the listeners got it. Some of them did.
Can you do that with a English accent? Don't.
That's hype. Wait, no, because every single time Nicolas Cage was playing a British character, he always just kept his Nicolas Cage thing going. Like he never actually did a British accent, even when he was the Witch Hunter or whatever that recent movie was. But yeah, all right, well, good stuff, man. Well, hey, we've got a great topic to talk about tonight, but first we've got a great product to talk about tonight. and that is the wonderful coffee from Bean Fruit Coffee.
That's right.
Actually, if you go to beanfruitcoffee.com and use the code CSR, you can get yourself a 5% discount on any purchase there. And we encourage you to do so. You're talking about Caleb the intern. Of course, last week we were talking about coffee, talking about tobacco, talking about kind of where the intersection is. And you're exactly right. There is something about like right now where we're wanting to know where the products are coming from and how they're being made, and what kind of quality is being poured into it. Is it a quality product, or is it just something in mass production?
Yeah.
Bean Fruit Coffee, you're talking about specialty coffee that's being handcrafted, hand roasted for you and for this select batch. It's going to be really, really fine quality, really, really fine coffee. We encourage you to check it out. Again, it's beanfruit.com and use the code CSR. Not only do you get yourself a 5% discount for that, but you also help out the show when you do it. So definitely do that to help us out, because we need all the help we can get with tonight's Squire Select.
Does that mean you need another pour?
I'm about to. Yeah, absolutely. Now, for those who've never actually tuned into a Squire Select before, we've mentioned this in the past, but the first time that we ever did a Squire Select, this is essentially a pairing of some product, typically whiskey, and pipe tobacco. Now, it can be others. We've done tea in the past. We've talked about doing coffee, though I don't think we've officially done that yet.
We never have done coffee.
I wanted to do barbecue. That's a whole point of contention that we've still not resolved yet.
Yeah.
So it's Squire Select Barbecue. It's going to happen at some point, but tonight it's
tobacco and barbecue pairing.
Yeah, tonight it's going to be
so shameless, dude.
It's not shame. Look, people have spoken. They love this idea. All right, show of hands in the room. How many of you would like to enjoy your pipe after eating some fine barbecue? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. That's good, man. I could take that.
You got to take a majority. That. I mean, I don't know. You just want to eat barbecue. Like, let's just eat barbecue and just talk about the barbecue.
Tonight we're talking about whiskey as we are pairing it with pipe tobacco. So this, typically what we do is we take 2 or 3 whiskeys. Now you've actually got some fine selection tonight. One of which you are keeping secret from me. But let's first talk about the first beverage that we have on deck here tonight.
Trust me, the first beverage on deck will be well balanced in quality by the. By the second cleanup act that we have. But yeah, man, this was really special. A good friend of mine, Connor Schwartz, who's a local liquor representative that goes around and represents just a bunch of real high end stuff. Also represents some more market, regular market type of whiskeys and things like that.
Sure. The stuff that I buy and the stuff that you buy.
That's right. Yeah. But a lot of high end stuff. And Connor, when I purchased a shop about 3 months ago, he brought me that day a gift, and he brought me this bottle of Ardbeg. It is Ardbeg. I'm going to butcher this. Ugadal.
Sure, Ugadale. I think when the AI doesn't that mean Dale?
It might.
In all fairness,
it looks like that. It looks like that.
It's Ugadale.
It's called. I think it's called Ugadale or Ugadal, one or the other. But it's spelled Uigeadal. And this is it's a Islay whiskey, and it's made by Ardbeg. This is in Jackson, next door at the package store, right next door.
Right.
Because we're classy, we call it package store. This is about a $75 bottle of scotch. And it's an Islay, and so typically Isleys, which also include revered names like Lagavulin and Lafroig. These are whiskeys that, of course, have a high peat concentration, but then also the peat is just known to be extra smoky. And there's a quality on Islay too of the water. I think a lot of folks will call it Isla. I think they refer to it as Isla.
We're in the South. We're
in the South, so we butchered everything we've said. As Brian Levine says, we don't even wear shoes. So it was actually funny the other day. I have to mention this. Speaking of that. He texted me. He said, "Hey, a friend of mine, his daughter is going to Ole Miss next year." Of course, Brian lives in North Carolina, so which what's the North Carolina slogan? Like first in flight, 48th in education, or something.
Sure. First in flight, last in having Brian Levine. Sure.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely.
So but of course, he's got to get in his Mississippi dig. So so he's like, a friend of my daughter's going to Ole Miss, and like. Do they have running water there yet? I don't know if she should like pack her up bottled water and stuff. And I was like, I don't know. I think we have that, but it's only due to the ADA or something like that. and he immediately came back and was like, ADA, I didn't know y'all could spell that. And I was like, well, I mean, ADA in Mississippi, that's like 2/3 of our alphabet right there.
This is why Tobacco Jesus turns the other cheek. You understand?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
wasn't it Brian Levine that said if you're Tobacco Jesus, then he's the Tobacco Devil?
I think
he did say that. I think he did say that. Oh,
I think that's the exact quote.
All right, so we've got this beautiful Islay Scotch here.
We do, yeah. It's Ardbeg Ugadal, and so again, lots of peat. This is an area of Scotland that they're known for scotches that have a very, again, peaty, smoky, medicinal flavor. But then with this as well, you get iodine and salt. Now it's interesting. Folks say, "What does iodine taste like?" I always think of iodine as, kind of a salty. I don't know. The medicinal part kind of goes along with that. So it's hard for me to describe.
I've never really considered iodine a taste.
Yeah.
Like what other, like what else would you associate the taste of iodine with?
I think salt.
Iodine.
Yeah.
So just salt.
and just iodine.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's the aroma
from the nasal cavity. All right, fair enough.
And that makes sense to me. But with this, let me, if I can look at my notes real quick. This one in particular is just going to have more of that kind of salty flavor than some of the other ones are going to have. Of course, you've got who's the guy from? Oh, this is embarrassing. The guy from Parks and Rec.
Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson. Yep. That's right. I knew it was Ron, but I knew it wasn't Ron Burgundy, and I didn't want to mess it up.
No. Although he does like Scotch.
He does like Scotch,
yes.
In his belly. But Ron Swanson, of course, is a Lagavulin 16 person, which is going to have less, I think, of a salty characteristic than this. But this is very nuanced, and it better be for $75 a bottle. So
it's funny. Last week when I was with Caleb, we were talking about people's palates and how you're able to identify flavors, of course, based on what you've tasted before. And it's odd now that you say it, all I can taste is the saltiness of it. But when I was drinking it before, I would have never figured out. Like I would have connected that this was a salty flavor. I just knew it was a flavor that I enjoyed.
There's something there is a power of suggestion there, right? So like when you get that, you start thinking, along those lines.
I guess so, but I mean, like honestly, I was thinking
but it's there. It really is there.
It's one that's very, obviously we're already drinking it, but we should cheers for the sake of tradition here. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's very smooth, right? Like at the very front end of it.
But do you get a tingle on your tongue?
You get a tingle on your tongue.
And see, that's unique. A lot of smooth scotches, they just they go down smooth. You don't get the tingle until the very end.
No. And
this
is almost like
on
reverse.
The back end.
Like you get a
I feel like it's on the front.
You get a smooth for like a split second. You get that tingle, and then that peat just comes in hard. It's good, man.
What are thoughts? Thoughts here?
Yeah. You guys like it?
Two said we don't want to know. They're very uncomfortable with the usage of the word tingle
on the tongue. That was
the tongue tingle.
That was you didn't feel comfortable about that.
Caused by the what?
Peat.
Oh, it is caused by the peat.
Man, what is wrong with you?
We're having a great time.
This is what people actually do when they listen to us.
No, they really do. They really do.
Like, what do you call it?
And sometimes they even tweet the stuff in. They're the ones we have to ignore.
I know, exactly. We've invited the trolls into the
We have it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. Well, but no, Dan, I really, really enjoy this.
Yeah, this is delicious stuff.
You already mentioned Lafroig and Lagavulin, which are both two of my favorite scotches out. I think this might be up there.
Islay scotches are funny because they're known for this peat heavy stuff, real smoky. But then you've got other brands from the island as well. Cal Isla and Bunnahabhain. These are scotches that are sweeter. And are not nearly as kind of medicinal as this, but this just really screams kind of that campfire, woody flavor on the front. And I think that the thing that paired nicely with this for me tonight, and I was excited about this one as I was thinking about it. But we are going to do this one with Solani 779. It's English luxury mixture. It's the gold label. From Solani.
Interesting. All right, now this is completely new to me.
This is new. We've talked about some Solani tobaccos before.
Have we?
And the most recent one we talked about was the Silver Flake. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember the box. It was like a $35 box.
It looks like a enlarged watch box or something like that.
Yeah, like something you buy a piece of jewelry in. Or
absolutely,
something.
Sure.
And we actually talked about how good the tobacco was, but how poor the packaging was.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Because that's the thing. It looked like it was something special until you opened it up, and it was like all like wedged in there with this like plastic wrap, right?
Yeah, it was a plastic bag.
Yeah.
It not like a Piggly Wiggly bag.
No.
Right, but
I mean, not much better.
But not right. Yeah. So but the Solani, of course, it's a German-made tobaccos. They're just really top shelf. They're exquisite. In America, distributed by Monjour International. Steve Monjour is a good friend of ours, good friend of the shop, and just believe in everything that they import and sell. And so we want to always give a shout out to their stuff. But Solani, high-end tobaccos, the gold label is delicious. This is it's an English mixture, but it's got a really nice balance of Orientals in it. And also the thing that makes this particularly delicious to me is that it's got Syrian Latakia in it. And so now Syrian, of course, Latakia, it's harder to get nowadays. Most of the stuff that's on the market, really all of it, is stuff that, was procured years ago and has kind of just been, coming out over time.
Yeah.
These people have hoarded this stuff. I know McClelland about 15 years ago bought, it made everyone angry because they bought like all the stuff left on the market, but hey, the McNeils are tickled.
No, it worked. That was a good investment.
No, absolutely. But anyway,
I don't see anybody complain about Mark Ryan being the only
Perique guy. Yeah. So it's one of those things like the when you do see Syrian Latakia come out, it's in a small batch, typically a little more expensive tobacco blend, but it's super sophisticated, lots of leaves and very nuanced. And of course, the Solani 779 is no exception to that. So you've got Virginias, a variety of Virginias with Oriental leaf, and then the Syrian Latakia. The thing I think I like the most about this tobacco, other than the complexity of it, is its kind of interesting lurking sweetness that comes out, particularly towards the end of your puffing. So it's kind of almost the opposite of the Ardbeg, which has the tingle on the front. It's our new band name, Tingle on the Front.
As much as I've wanted us to have some kind of band, I'm gonna have to.
You don't want to call it Tingle on the Front?
I'm about to pass on that one. You know what? We could call it Tamping That Ash. I'm cool
We could call it Tamp That Ash.
Tingle in the Front. I'm not sure about that.
Tingle on the Front.
Ladies.
So hey, why don't you open this gold label Solani and tell me how you think it smells.
Delicious.
Does it make? Never mind.
Does it make me tingle in the front? Was that what you were gonna say? That's not going in the podcast.
No,
come on, man. Go with the live show though, because you can't edit live. This smells absolutely delicious.
Yeah, I'd love to know with our live audience, and if y'all are the folks here tonight, like y'all, please, you're more than welcome to try some of this. It's delicious. And if you're a listener of the show regularly or good friend, like, I don't smoke a lot of English blends. It's not something I typically smoke a lot of. But with this one in particular, I think the Orientals really shine here. But it's also a sweeter mixture. There's that sweetness that kind of comes out again on the end of it that it just really makes it quite pleasant. And so the Latakia is there. It's Syrian Latakia, so it's not overly smoky. It's got a well balanced, kind of nuanced, sophisticated type of flavor to it. I tend to gravitate towards that more. You just don't see it very often because of obviously the availability of it. So, but I think it goes really well with the Ardbeg. As complex as the Ardbeg is, it's smoky, but has a lot of nuance as well. The smokiness and I think the sweetness kind of pair nicely together.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yep. I dig it. I'm good pairing. I'm hesitant to move forward because when you told me tonight that you were hiding the first one from me, what was my response to you immediately?
That cheap, huh?
That's right, man. I knew it. So we got this beautiful, wonderful Scotch, this amazing tobacco to go with it.
That's right.
What have you commandeered from the gas station?
This is I'm sorry,
the guy hanging outside the gas station.
This is a whiskey that is regularly seen around the Country Squire.
Okay, all right. I'm back in. Okay,
which has some meaning to it. But I want to dedicate this particular whiskey to an individual that's not here tonight. And generally we're thankful when this person does not show up.
Is not here. Okay,
because it makes things a little easier,
right?
As we're preparing for Country Squire Radio. But he's our friend the Hurricane that we have mentioned in passing before on Country Squire Radio. We won't mention his name because his name is ridiculous, and this is a family-friendly show, right? But so in honor of him, I've got and this actually is going somewhere. Okay, this is going somewhere. You already saw it, and your face is twisted with anger and fear.
No. It's great.
We have Old Charter 8. Now, before you just are so horrified.
No. It's okay.
I'm
containing myself. Please continue.
The beautiful thing about this is that with Old Charter 8, now again, we've got look at the amazing balance that's being struck here. We've got this exquisite Ardbeg. It's probably you've got
Celtic symboling on the
I mean, this came from an island we can't even pronounce the name of, and then
that's
you've
how
got
it's good,
and then you've got the Old Charter, which was it's made by Buffalo Trace, but it's it's.
Well, hang on now.
But you bought this. This was distilled in the same county where people burn couches when they celebrate football games.
Right. Okay.
I'm just saying, we're in the South. That's kind of what happened.
So Old Charter was that's interesting. So Old Charter was actually made by Buffalo Trace. I didn't realize that.
Well, I think that's a newer. I think Buffalo Trace at some point purchased Old Charter. I could be wrong about that. Someone might.
This is not the first.
I thought that was correct.
To be fair, this is not the first time that you've done this. Now you actually back in 2014.
That's right.
Actually, we did a Squire Select where you brought out Old Charter to do a Squire Select pairing. Now,
that's right.
I don't know that it was Old Charter 18, so maybe we've got a little bit of a differentiation.
Oh no, this is Old Charter 8.
So
let's.
Okay.
Let's be sure we got it. That I think actually that was Old Charter 10.
Okay. All right.
10. Gotcha. We are going a step down.
But see, here's the thing. Back then, you did it with Lefroy. So once again,
okay, good. So once again, we've got an Isla and then Old Charter, and I think there's something.
I'm not a single man. I'm happily married, but I understand that there's just sometimes that maybe you've been enjoying a drink too many, and sometimes you don't call up Ardbeg, you don't call up Lefroy. Because they take there's this little classy quality there. No, this is 3 a.m. and you're 5 sheets to the wind, so you're calling up Old Charter. You're calling up Old Charter again, aren't you?
I'm calling up Old Charter again.
All right.
Again.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, man.
It was it's interesting. My good friend Steven, who's actually here tonight, had this for the first time today. I think, was it the first time? Yeah. And so our friend, we'll call him Richard. That is his name. We'll call him Richard. But he was here. He was here, and he brought his
Nothing. Continue.
He brought his regular bottle of Old Charter in, and we were all making fun of him for it because it's the kind of thing you buy, you assume to clean your car battery with. But he was like, "No, it's good. Try it." And Stephen tried it, and he cursed Richard. Because he was like disappointed in how much he actually liked it.
Oh.
and it's one of those things.
Look, there's nothing wrong with it.
It's a good whiskey.
It's a good cabinet whiskey. If you're gonna let's say,
particularly to mix with. Okay,
exactly. That's what I was about to say.
Particularly
if you're making a Manhattan, if you're gonna make even if you're gonna make an old fashioned or something if you're gonna make a whiskey cocktail, Old Charter is actually a good go-to whiskey.
No, I'm down with that. It's so classy, as a matter of fact, that. Instead, it's Old Charter 8, and it's not 8 years. It just says 8. So we actually don't know if it's 8 years or if it's
8 weeks,
if it's 8 days. That right. Steven says that's the price of the bottle. Right. So there's a lot that could be happening here, but and think of the mystery and the nuance that we talk about the nuance and the complexity of the Ardbeg. Think about, how many couches were burned when this bottle of Old Charter was made.
All right.
I'm just saying there's some sweet sophistication here. So Old Charter, obviously you're going to have let's talk seriously.
Yes,
about
let's
Old
talk
Charter,
seriously about
Old Charter 8
Yeah,
for a second.
Oh,
but again, a house favorite at the Country Squire. You've got a he said the 8 is the price. That was great. You're gonna have peppery notes to it. It's got as any whiskey kind of in its same range is going to have that a characteristic bite to it, which you just kind of expect. But it's not unpalatable. It's something that I think has a nice honey sweetness to it. So shall we?
Honey sweetness.
Yeah, I think so.
Pour it up, man. Yeah, this is.
You need a little more than that.
Oh, really? Wow. All right. That's what happens when you call up Old Charter.
Does any of our live audience want to pour out their Ardbeg and replace it with this Old Charter?
No. We won't judge. Well, we won't judge. One of us may.
One of us may.
But that's all right.
Our Old Charter 8. Hey,
cheers.
Bo, cheers.
Cheers to a forgettable night.
Look, that's smooth.
Yeah, you're right. It's like water right after drinking what we were just drinking.
No,
man.
okay, it is. Of course it is, right? So you've got
that's a rough transition, right? And like, don't get me wrong, not rough as in it's a hard transition.
Yeah,
it's just it's a gear change.
It's stark.
Yeah.
It's very stark. I think it is.
Like Tony,
or Starkville. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you've got a in this combination. Of course, we went from the Ardbeg, which is super peaty, with the kind of salty medicinal stuff going on, and then you go over here to Old Charter, and it's like, actually, relatively smooth. Okay, for what you're purchasing here,
absolutely.
and then you've got kind of like I said, that honey sweetness to it. Do you get that?
No, yeah. So part of what's going on here too is that the Ardbeg has such a kind of a salty nature to it that
I can't believe we're comparing these two. It's great.
Well, out of contrast. I mean, it's a contrast.
No,
man.
it is.
It really is an absolute contrast. Once you actually go from the saltiness into this, like, yeah, there are sweet tones, sweet flavors that I would have never actually picked up before that I'm getting now because of that contrast.
Does it tingle on the front or the back?
There's no tingle with Old Charter. Look, it does the trick, but there's no tingle. That's why you call up Old Charter at 3 a.m. after a bad night.
That's exactly right. That's it.
And in the morning, you won't remember that Old Charter was even involved.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But it did the trick.
Right. It probably woke up and went somewhere else. So.
Absolutely. I apologize right here and now. It's Squire Select. That's what happens.
This is great.
That's what happens.
So anyway, this is a fun whiskey to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And for obvious reasons. And again, if you come to the Squire, you will find this readily available if our friend Richard the Hurricane is around.
It's not just him. I mean, obviously you have got this on retainer at your house as well, which is wonderful.
I wouldn't go that far.
Look, like I said, it's
around the shop.
It's a good cabinet whiskey to have, especially if you enjoy cocktails. And one of the great things about it is because it is sweet, because it is so smooth, you can really take it in a lot of different directions. Or in the instance of tonight, we're just drinking it straight up. So what would you pair with the Old Charter?
So this is a fun pairing.
Yeah.
We talked about the standard tobaccos that came out when they reintroduced all the John Cotton blends. This has been, I guess, about a year ago now. You had the Standard Tobacco Company came out, Russ Roulette, pipesandcigars.com, the really sophisticated blender, one of those blenders that, a young tobacconist like me, when I grow up, I want to be him kind of thing. Right. But mimicked all these blends that, had come out years ago and then subsequently, had kind of gone away, through the years as pipe smoking dwindled. But, now as our communities kind of roared back, they, spent all this time and effort kind of, bringing back these old majestic blends that had this great heritage. And so, one that really struck with me was the Bengal Slices. Bengal Slices, it comes in this just real simple but very elegant tin. It's the celebrated Bengal Slices pipe tobacco. And it's got a flag on there of looks like Great Britain and maybe Scotland too, but just a real pleasant smoke. I don't see a thistle. No, I don't see a thistle. But that would make sense. That would make sense if there was for Scotland. The back of it says Bengal Slices is a crumble cake made of Cyprian Latakia, outstanding Orientals, bright Virginia, and a touch of black Cavendish, finished with a subtle top note. And so I thought this would be interesting. I want you to open that and give me I don't think you've ever seen this tobacco, Bo. I want you to take a look at the tobacco and give me your initial impression.
One more time. Who made this again?
Standard Tobacco Company. I think it's actually produced by Lane. Yeah, look at the actual flake.
Okay, that's different.
Pull that out.
I mean, because that's, typically I immediately look at this and think, okay, it's a brownie, but no, it's not a brownie because it is.
So you've got a crumble cake here. It's a crumble cake. Obviously, this is something that's been pressed, not as much as a flake tobacco, but it's had a significant amount of pressure put on it and then sliced. And so, are you okay? Do you need a moment?
No, it smells amazing.
It's exquisite. It's what I've been smoking tonight. I just can't keep my pipe lit because I keep talking too much.
Oh, that's part of who would do a podcast about pipe?
I know who would ever do that. So Bengal Slices, I'm pairing this exquisite tobacco with Old Charter 8. And the reason is because Bengal Slices has this quality of being it's obviously Latakia forward. You've got this, Latakia element in there, but the Orientals I think come out, and then there's a sweetness to it that I think really wraps it all together. And for me, with Old Charter, you've got the bite and it's whiskey, so there's that sense of, just harshness to it. But there's a sweetness to Old Charter that I think even when you drink it, even as we drink it tonight, particularly after we tried the Ardbeg, it's very sippable. It's a very sippable whiskey. And with the Bengal Slices, I think you get some of that too. So, it's one of those, they call it a lat bomb with nuance, a Latakia bomb with nuance, I think is how someone put it on the tobacco reviews that I read about it. So, I just think that with that, it balances and probably adds a little complexity to the Old Charter that the Old Charter wouldn't have on itself, but the two go together well.
Man, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent pairing overall. I think that,
what do you think?
No, both of these really, really solid pairings together. I give you such a hard time about the Old Charter, but I definitely see this tobacco pairing very, very nicely with it. Although I do feel like it's almost an insult here to
it might be
Bengal Slices here, but yeah, no, it's at the same time they go well.
It works.
Look, if you look at me and you look at my wife, you'd think, why is she with him? Maybe that's what this is.
You are the Old Charter to her Ardbeg.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, specifically the Bengal Slices, but yeah, absolutely.
What is it, Chris? $15 for the Old Charter.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
And it's for
if money means anything to you,
yeah,
which it certainly does to us.
It's you can't judge a book by its cover.
Look, we need money. We need all the help that we can get.
I judge books by their cover every day.
No, that's great, man. And that would be if we were still doing the Audible thing. That'd be great transition.
I know, right?
Oh man. But no, all right, excellent pairings, man. Overall, this is really, really good. What I love is that you are big about the contrast. Whenever you're pairing pipe tobaccos and whiskeys, we love to hear.
A lot of times that happens.
Oh, absolutely, man. We'd love to hear the listener feedback as well. What is your favorite whiskey with your favorite tobacco? What is the pairing that you enjoy? Have you tried one of these pairings before? If you do, let us know your feedback. We'd love to hear that. We also love to hear that you're enjoying the show. We'd love to hear how you're enjoying the show and what you're smoking while you're doing it and how you're smoking it. And the great thing is that many of you, while you're smoking your pipe tobacco of choice, you are doing so in a Missouri Meerschaum pipe.
Exactly.
It's a long way to get to that transition.
We love a Missouri Meerschaum pipe. It's worth the scenic route, man.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Look, we one of the things that we've been doing over the last couple of episodes is talking very specifically about our favorite pipes from Missouri Meerschaum. And last week we had Caleb talking about his. We've talked about ours. We're going to talk tonight about your favorite pipe, the Cobbett pipe.
That's right.
The good folks about your favorite Missouri Meerschaum pipe, the Cobbett.
Well, my particular, there's multiple Cobbetts. We've got the Wizard, the Dwarf, and the Shire. And with these pipes, you've got, various tweaks on bowl shapes and things like that. But, I think the overarching thing that unifies the Cobbett series is the length of them. Think of like Churchwarden, but maybe not quite as long, and in a corn cob.
Yeah.
And so these are great pipes. The stem is, typically a little higher quality than what you're used to seeing with some of the cob pipes that are out there. And so because of that, obviously you're going to pay a little more for a Cobbett pipe, but the quality is incredible. It's one of those that the first time you smoke it, you'll immediately notice the coolness of the smoke. And I really do mean that. There's not just, that's not just giving lip service to the typical church warden pipe that you understand smokes cooler. But with the Cobbett pipe, the smoke is going to smoke cooler, and with the Cobb, it's a good pipe to try new tobaccos in that maybe you're not familiar with, and so you get a cool smoke, but also a very clean smoke. And so I think that's why I'm a big fan.
Man, we talk about it all the time, but you're going to have a corncob pipe in your collection. And we've referred to it before as the toolkit pipe. The great thing about Missouri Meerschaum is that they produce extremely high quality and very diverse corncob pipes. If you don't have a couple of them, you need to check out what they're doing. So check out Missouri Meerschaum, check out their pipes, and do this for us. If you are smoking your Missouri Meerschaum pipe this week, take a picture of yourself, put it up on Twitter. Make sure you tag us at Squire Radio on that. We'll retweet that out. It's a great way to show them how much you love their products while they're helping us show us how much they love us by helping support this show. So do it. Check them out, Missouri Meerschaum.
It's very confusing.
Was it? I was trying to juggle that in a way that wasn't.
You did all right. I'll just have another sip of this Old Charter.
Old Charter. Cheers.
Right, cheers.
Yeah. Oh, Old Charter. You Old Charter.
Old Charter 8.
Old Charter 8.
Not 8 years, just 8.
Just 8.
It literally on the front of the bottle, it just says in big blue, it's just 8.
It's just YouTube gold right here. I don't know. It's not podcast gold.
Gently matured for many seasons. That's literally what it says. It doesn't say even years. It says gently matured for many seasons.
Give a thumbs up right now for Old Charter. Not because you like it, not because you dislike it. Just
in century-old brick warehouses. That could mean like someone's shed in their backyard.
Have you seen where look, the Podastery studio is in an abandoned warehouse in Jackson, Mississippi. That's technically an old brick warehouse.
Yeah, I mean that yeah.
The mold is
terrifying. Right. I know, right?
All right, back to the official show.
That's right.
Pipe question of the week this week comes into us from listener of the show, Andrew. Andrew writes in, says, "Gentlemen, thanks so much for an awesome podcast. My buddy Eric turned me on to your show, and I can't say enough about it. My question, what do the differences in the color of smoke that we produce, what do the differences in the color of the smoke that we produce it from our pipes indicate?" He mentions blue, white, etc. And should we be concerned about how hot the bowls get during the course of a smoke? And he says this is from a Southern boy in North Carolina, Andrew McPhilly. Now,
Southern boy from North California.
No, North California. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's see.
You can't just pass us information in the middle of the show.
What is it?
Oh, yeah. No, we knew it was years. It was a bit. It's
the thing is, I don't know. It says 8-year Kentucky whiskey, but I mean, this is from Men's Journal. What's your? What, you got to check your sources here. No, I mean that's understandable.
Absolutely.
So okay,
pipe question for Andrew.
Andrew's talking about the color of his smoke. I have actually never thought about the color of pipe smoke. And, we even talked about, bringing this particular question on. I was like, let's bring it on, even though I don't really know anything. And there's not a lot of research, that I could find, out there about this particular question.
Well, flames tends to indicate heat, right? Like, isn't like blue is hotter than orange and green is hotter than blue?
But we're talking about smoke, though.
But so that's what I think. We're talking about smoke.
We're talking about smoke. And typically, as Stephen, who's here with us tonight, mentioned, with cigars, there is a difference in color of smoke. With cigars, the back end of the cigar, when smoke it just kind of streams out of it, will be a white smoke. Is that right, Stephen? Oh no, it's brown. It's brown as it comes through the back end of it. But typically on the front, it'll be a darker smoke. No, I'm sorry, the whiter, the gray or white smoke. And Stephen, why is that? What the difference there is? Just because of it's just going through tobacco or something? I don't know. Yeah. For some reason, with the cigar, the color on the front end of the cigar, the smoke is different than on the back end. But, with the pipe, I've never noticed or had any correlation, with, tobacco type or heat or, cut or anything like that with a different color of smoke. To me, all the pipe smokers just kind of look the same. So, so anyway, I would love, we bring this up on air because I'd love to, hear if anyone else has ever, experienced anything like that.
This is one of those JD punting questions.
I'm punting. I'm punting to the crowd. Yeah.
Actually, the crowd might know. All right, go ahead.
All right, you what's the interject?
Okay, so there's a point of it could be what light is actually going on. I mean,
okay, so it's the quality of the light source.
That could be the.
Right. It's if it's blue, you're burning oil.
I can never tell if he's joking or not.
I think we're going to talk about that turkey in a minute, but we'll bring that up later.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So as far as the second part of your question, you've got the heat of the bowl of the pipe as you're smoking, and of course, this is something that you want to pay attention to. Now, a lot of times with the more inexpensive pipe and briar that maybe hasn't been cured as long or doesn't have the best of grain. You've got a pipe that might just burn hotter, and that's part of it because it's a lower quality briar or whatever. But typically, the temperature that the bowl gets while you're smoking is very dependent on two things, and that is the type of tobacco that you're smoking, and then also the cadence in which you're smoking, and so that rhythm that goes into the pipe that where you keep it lit but also keep it cool enough to enjoy the tobacco,
right?
And so that cadence is very important. I think number one, let's talk about the tobacco. The tobacco that you're smoking, typically the wetter the tobacco is, again, it's going to be a hotter tobacco to smoke, not just on the bowl, but also on your tongue. When you're smoking something that's real wet, has a lot of syrup or natural moisture in it, that's going to create almost like a lava substance that really settles in there at the bottom that makes that briar just get hotter.
Right.
And also that moisture will interact with your tongue in ways that makes your tongue almost blister a bit. And I think that's why with more aromatic tobaccos, you've got that the tongue bite just kind of comes with the nature of those things. And that's why, a tobacco, for instance, like Latakia, which is super bold in flavor, is actually very easy on your tongue. Latakia is actually really, really smooth on your tongue because it's one of those that just, it's more of a oily smoke, but it doesn't have that sugary, syrupy wetness to it that interacts with your palate as much as the other. So that's one thing to think about. But then the other thing I think is the cadence thing, and that's going to be a function of what your tamping ritual is and your puffing and the speed at which you do that. That's how you're able to manage the temperature of your bowl. The reason this is important, is not just because of how it, affects the comfort level on your hand as you're holding the pipe, but it's for the health of your pipe as well. So, again, you've got to remember that as you're smoking your pipe, you're smoking a plant, you're smoking a piece of wood that's been harvested to make this product. And so, it's got a certain, ability to, resist heat. That's why we use briar, because it's so good at that.
Mm-hmm.
But, the more you work a pipe, the more, heat you put at it, the more exposure to that's got, it's just more likely to crack and split or burn out. I've seen actually pipes that have burned holes all the way through the side, giant craters even.
That's crazy.
Just because someone burned it too hot,
right?
For a very small amount of time. So yeah, you do want to pay attention to that. One thing that will help with this is building proper cake in your pipe. And so when you build cake in your pipe, we talk about the importance of that and getting that cake kind of between the width of a dime and a nickel. You don't want to get it too thick because that can hurt the bowl itself. It can split that pipe. But the cake is important because it acts as kind of an insulation. It also collects some of the moisture, and so your tobacco will burn cooler and drier because some of the cake. It acts almost as a sponge. So anyway, these are things to think about. But yeah, the temperature of your pipe, if it is too hot on your hand, that's an indicator that maybe it's time to slow that rhythm, that cadence down some. And it'll probably make it more comfortable on your tongue too.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great pipe question from Andrew. Hey, if you get a pipe question of the week this week, send it into us, csr@podastery.com. What's up?
Oh, no.
Listener, we'll save it for listener feedback.
Yeah.
Quick fire questions. Ow! All right, these come in. This is actually great, man. These come in from thispipelife.com user Pipe Professor.
Good.
Yeah, now these are all, this is a little bit of a gear change for us, man. These are actually all very pipe centric. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right, Briar or Merch?
Does he mean Meerschaum?
I would imagine so.
I think he means Meerschaum.
Yeah, I think he means Meerschaum.
I have to go with Briar.
I've only ever had Briar.
You've never smoked a Meerschaum pipe?
I've always wanted to smoke a Meerschaum pipe, but I just haven't found the right one. I'm saving myself.
You don't. we I think we need to do a security check for the host tonight. So we need to remedy that. You need a Meerschaum pipe.
I do need a Meerschaum pipe.
And we'll work on that.
No, every single new pipe shop, every single new show, anything that I go to, I always check out the Meerschaum pipes.
Yeah,
because I do want to get a Meerschaum pipe. I just haven't found the one yet.
Yeah, you know, I remember you went to the Chicago Pipe Show, of course, and you were about to pull the trigger on a beautiful Meerschaum pipe.
Oh, you're gonna tell this story? Oh my gosh!
And it was gorgeous. It was actually you were talking to someone who's now a good friend of the shop and the show, and someone that you know we're working on to get some Meerschaum pipes here in the shop with, but this individual told you that, you know, the pipe you were looking at was, you know, it was good for the ladies.
Yeah, I was like,
it was good for the ladies.
I thought I found the one. He was like, oh yes, that's a lady's pipe. I was like,
right.
Oh, okay. Well,
and you immediately walked away. What does that say about you, Bo? Are you not confident?
I guess not. I mean, like, let's be honest. If I didn't buy it, maybe
you wanted
what
that pipe
means.
bad.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, okay, I'm a briar pipe smoker. I love Meerschaum. It smokes great. It's just kind of clumsy. You know, it's one of those that you have to worry with and fool with, and it's not particularly durable. Although, you know, you can load it up and smoke it over and over and over. It smokes real clean. But I'm a briar pipe smoker.
All right, fair enough. Bent or straight?
Straight.
Yeah, you know.
Straight pipe, of course. Yeah.
More often than not, I'm going to go for the straight pipe. There are, you know, we actually talked to, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, maybe it was actually last week with Caleb. We were talking about kind of the unfinished pipes and how specifically I was kind of interested in buying one at some point. And I'm really interested in actually getting more of a bent pipe in that regard. But beyond that, I'm more of a straight pipe kind of guy.
I don't think do you have many bent pipes? I don't think most of your pipes are going to be straight. You do have a couple of church wardens.
I got a church warden. I got two. Well, actually, I've got two church wardens, and one of those is straight, and the other one is bent.
Okay.
And
so even one of your church wardens is straight.
That's right. I got three church wardens. One of them is straight. Two of them are bent, and then I've got a Viking that's bent, and then I've actually got
I like that pipe.
Very large bowl pipe. I can't remember who it's by, but it is a bent pipe. But those, I think, for the most part, almost all the rest of them are straight.
Are straight pipes, yeah.
All right, flake or ribbon?
Oh man,
see, I'm ribbon all the way. Golly. This isn't even a competition.
Hey, I don't know, man.
I don't have the skills for flake on any kind of regular basis.
Golly, this is difficult to say. I'm a flake tobacco guy.
Yeah,
I love a flake tobacco.
That's cool.
I really do. You know, as I think about my favorite tinned tobaccos that, you know, I regularly go to, they're all flakes. They're all flake tobaccos, and it's something about the pressing of it. Not just the ability to make the tobacco flavor more, more intense, but also the freshness that it takes on just over time. And part of obviously the romance for the pipe for me is the ritual of it. It's going through, you know, the motions of, tearing your tobacco apart, filling your bowl, tamping it, relighting it, tamping it again, you know, and so with a flake, it adds that extra step that for me is just very, it's just soothing to me. It's just a good experience. I love a flake tobacco.
You know, for me, it like the comparison is almost like fly fishing versus like just fishing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I like to fly fish. If I'm going to choose between the two, I'm like it, but mostly because I look more awesome while I'm doing it. And most people don't know how to do it. It's a matter of
perspective.
I'm just saying that's just the difference there. You know, people who know how to smoke flake are going to enjoy it more. Matches versus lighter.
Matches. Yeah, matches. But see, I have the luxury of, you know, when I come to work every day, I'm at a smoke shop, and so I can smoke inside. Most people nowadays don't smoke indoors; they smoke outdoors. And so, you know, if they stuck to matches, they probably would give up pipe smoking pretty quickly because, you know, they couldn't get their pipe lit.
Yeah,
so,
when given,
but I'm a match guy.
When given the choice, on matches as well.
Yeah.
Taste or room note?
Taste. Oh, taste.
See, I think I'm more room note.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Like, there's just something about the smoke lingering and just kind of enjoying the overall, just, you know, what's going to last on you beyond the actual smoking process. It's less about the taste, although I do enjoy the taste. I would prefer one that's both, but overall, I think I enjoy the room note of a tobacco more.
You know, that's interesting. A lot of these questions, you know, honestly, we've had before on quick fire questions, but this isn't first. This is a first.
This is definitely a first.
We've never had a taste versus room note question.
That might be actually a show at some point.
Yeah, that actually that could be. For me, you know, obviously taste is very important. There are a lot of folks that the smell is very paramount. I think what was interesting about having Timothy work at the shop, and then also come on the show often was, as folks may remember, Tim the intern, I'm sorry, Tim the apprentice. We want to give him that well-earned promotion that he received.
Of course, yeah.
You know, Timothy could not smell. And that was always so fascinating to me, because this is someone that enjoyed the pipe, but had to enjoy it with the absence of an entire sense, you know, and so he was able to, you know, appreciate these tobaccos with a very heightened sense of taste. And there's a sense in which I'm kind of envious of that, because it was very, you know, finely tuned his ability to pick up nuance on his tongue. So
yeah, no.
I don't know. I'm a taste person, and I think always will be.
And finally, cellared or fresh?
It depends on the tobacco. If we're talking about an aromatic tobacco, fresh. If we're talking about anything else, cellared.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, it's interesting. I've started cellaring tobaccos.
Yeah, that's a thing you've started.
You know, when I was up at in Grand Rapids this past week, I gathered every single tobacco that I had from the Country Squire,
right,
and brought it with me and to share out with people, because you know some folks have never actually shared it. Yeah, it was really great. Actually, I brought some Madagascar
that we don't even have anymore.
I know. I told him, I was like, this is basically like, we could put this up on eBay and make some bank right now.
We really could. Actually, you need to bring that back to me so I can.
Overall, actually,
you need to sell it back to me.
The majority of people actually said they preferred the Madagascar overall of everything I brought.
That's terrible.
Sorry?
No. I mean, it's sad, is what it is.
Okay,
it's sad
that it's gone.
Yeah, the main ingredient for Madagascar no longer exists.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Oh, I should have hung on to it. I left it there for anybody else who wanted the rest of it. I'm sorry, dude.
You know,
had I known.
You know, people to
pearls before swine. Really, I mean, honestly, you know what I mean? Like you put it in my hands. Of course, I'm going to give it away.
Yeah, we had two blends that about 2 years ago now disappeared, and those blends were Madagascar and Long Bottom Leaf. Long Bottom Leaf, of course, was one of our. It was our signature Tolkien related blend.
It was the first one you ever did.
It was the
right?
first one we ever came out with. Yeah, it was a collaboration of me and a good friend Brandon that used to come in the shop very regularly, and so. You know, we made Long Bottom Leaf. Madagascar had been around the shop for a long time, and this is a tobacco that you know, they were both great, and we both they were so heavy in this particular ingredient that we can't. I have not been able to this day to duplicate either one of them, and so you know. Anyway, yeah.
All right, I can write to them and have
so
them
no, I think they should savor it. I think they should have it and smoke it and savor it and write poems about it and haikus and we will remember it and drink higher quality whiskey than Old Charter 8 in its remembrance.
Oh, Madagascar, how I love thee.
The webs you
count
weave.
The ways. I would smoke thee in a box. I would smoke thee with a fox. I would smoke thee in a bear. I would smoke thee anywhere. Anywhere?
Absolutely anywhere.
Great quick fire questions. Those actually came in again from Pipe Professor on thispipelife.com.
That was great.
Now, thispipelife.com, excellent place to go and submit some quick fire questions, because we actually have a thread there now called Quick Fire Questions.
Yeah.
And actually, if you have not registered yourself on thispipelife.com, now is the time. And let me tell you how you're going to do it. You're going to go to thispipelife.com. You're going to register your information. And while you do so, there is a code that you can enter, which we encourage you to enter in CSR.
CSR, that's right.
Why? Well, because it helps out the support of the show, and it gains you access to an awesome, awesome community of pipe smokers online that you're going to want to be a part of. Their forums are really, really great. There's a lot of benefits to the site overall, so we encourage you to explore. But honestly, the forums, get involved with other pipe smokers. It's great.
I think the forums are the jewel of this pipelife.com. The wonderful thing is there's a lot of different aspects to it. You've got the social media integration, and obviously you can see what other folks are doing and their reviews on things. And there's a whole section on there where to ask an expert and get real good advice about typical stuff that we struggle with pipe smoking. But the forums are kind of the gem of that. You've got this real vibrant community that is just willing to touch base on everything from types of tobacco, pipe brands, and it varies into all kinds of interesting topics that you might expect online. So we love it. We are greatly in support of this pipelife.com, and we thank them for supporting this show.
All right, man. Great listener feedback this week. I want to ask you to actually read the one, this one right here, the larger one right here.
Yeah.
Kick us off with that one right there. That's a great email from a listener.
Okay. Let's see. Does it have his name on here somewhere?
This one is from Portland Paul.
Okay. Portland Paul says, "Hey guys, so my boys, 16 and 4, and I were out on the back porch with the fire and my pipe going. We just started talking about pipe tobacco and Lord of the Rings. Obviously, with teenage boys, the conversation quickly devolved into goofy jokes and ridiculous barrel laughing as the puns and dad jokes started to roll." This sounds like a Country Squire radio episode.
It does, doesn't it? He gets us.
Just going to go ahead and say.
We got you.
He said, "I quickly, after 10 of these, not so quick, said we have to get this written down. And thus the boys took off the, let's see. Okay, and thus the boys took off to scrounge up a notepad to obviously write down all these jokes that they came up with. What you have here typed out is what our scribbling has transposed and translated to. While my younger son and my daughter were typing this out, they added a few at the end, which are noted. We tried pretty hard on the whole to make the interpreted flavors as realistic as we could, though a good many are not. Every Monday night, we all sit down and watch YouTube the broadcast, as well as later in the week, Satchel and restream the broadcast. And so, obviously he's talking about Satchel, the podcast player, which is your brainchild. And so they listen to it, later in the week and then watch us live on YouTube. He said, needless to say, when I said we've got to send this to Bo and JD, they were ecstatic and kept asking if I've sent this yet and what you've said about it. So here we go.
All right. So just to recap.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a family.
That was kind of a convoluted way of saying what you're about to say.
It's a great family. So this family's sitting around the fire. They're talking about Lord of the Rings. They're talking about pipe tobaccos inspired by Lord of the Rings. And we're talking about some young minds here. So they let their imaginations roll far beyond what you could actually do with tobacco, which is really, really brilliant. Honestly, when I was reading through the list, probably need to contact Ben and Jerry's because probably more ice cream flavors on some of those. But here are just a few examples of what we got from their brainchild. So we got the Iracorn, which is inspired based on Aragorn.
Okay, Iracorn.
Iracorn, and that would be a buttered popcorn pipe tobacco.
Okay. Iracorn pipe tobacco.
Could you make a buttered popcorn flavored type pipe tobacco?
I could, but it'd be like when you eat the bucket of jelly beans and everyone picks out it'd be like everyone picks out that one. Yeah, I think it'd be that one. If we sold it in a variety pack, everyone would be like, "Well, I bought the Iracorn tobacco, but it's the one that I throw out because I just had to buy it because I had to buy it to get all this other stuff."
Right. All right. Well, let's go with this one because this is a little bit more realistic.
Okay.
Phil, it's the Phil and Keelover, Feely and Killover, based off of Feely and Keely from The Hobbit, dwarves, and it's 50% Perique.
Okay, the keel over part.
Because you feel it, then you keel over.
And you feel it, and then you keel over.
So the Feely and Keely.
Right. I think we could probably make more headway with that. Yeah. With 50% Perique, I think it's a good thing if you smoke that the Squire is close to about 4 different well thought of hospitals.
Right. Yeah. We got you. We got you back.
Yeah.
We got you back. Gimchi, which is based off of Gimli. And the idea is that it's a kimchi.
Kimchi flavored pipe tobacco?
Again,
I'll pass.
Imaginative nature of the children. I love it. I love the creativity.
Yeah.
Never censor the never box it in.
Yeah.
A kimchi pipe tobacco,
I don't, if you had enough sriracha, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know, kind of a peppery finish to it.
Well,
is it tingly on the back end? Or
fair enough. Merry and Pippicorn, which is of course, reference to Merry and Pippin.
Right.
And a black peppercorn pipe tobacco. That actually does sound pretty good.
It's interesting you mentioned this. It's sitting in our tinned section in the shop right now, just 10 feet away from us, is a tin of Vowan black pepper tobacco.
Right. Yeah.
And that I ordered that tobacco so specifically. I when I saw that tobacco, I was so intrigued. I was like, someone's gonna buy this and try it and tell me about it. and I'm just gonna have to open it because I'm stunned that really someone would try to make a black pepper tobacco, but this has been done. Yeah, it's actually been done. So
everybody is looking back there.
The only thing, it's on the bottom shelf back there. But the only thing about it is they they just named it black pepper. They did not name it Merry and Pippicorn.
Or Pippincorn.
Pippencorn, yeah. But I think the next iteration of this that maybe the Squire can move in the direction of and maybe mimic one day is the Vowan black pepper and maybe Merry and Pippencorn if the FDA will allow it.
If the FDA will allow
it, will be our black pepper blend.
That's great.
Know. Yeah,
poor little hobbits and being shut down by the FDA.
I know.
Wow, what great
love hobbits equals deny the FDA.
What great imagination of the children here from Portland Paul. Hey, we got to give a major shout out to Portland Paul, not just because of the creative nature of his children, but also because today, as we broadcast here on August 15th, it's a very special day in this family. It's actually his and his wife's 18th wedding anniversary.
Dude, Portland Paul,
man,
congratulations!
Man. What's the wedding song? No, that's
Hail to the Chief.
That is Hail to the
Chief. Which might be their song. They may have danced to that for their first.
Not right.
Taps is what they sing when someone dies. What is that?
Happy wedding anniversary, guys.
Portland Paul, happy wedding anniversary.
Thank you and all of your family for tuning in live. We really appreciate it, guys. That's awesome. Finally, let's listener feedback here we've got from John McKenzie. Now, I included this in listener feedback because this is actually a Facebook message that we got from John. It was a direct message he was sending to the show. He asked the question, are y'all located in Mississippi? Is this the little tobacco shop called the Country Squire that Miss Gwen runs? And this is from John.
Wow. Yeah. Man, we are. What a great question. Miss Gwen Reeves was her and her husband founded this shop in 1970. She passed away, I guess it was 2012 now. And so what was that, 4 years ago? And actually this August, it was four years ago. So yeah, she's the lady that hired me and her family, of course, inherited it after she passed away, and I was, blessed enough to be able to have the opportunity to purchase a shop from that family, very recently. So yeah, this is Miss Gwen's shop, man. We pray every day that we honor her and think that she would be really proud.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things I think, anybody who's ever created anything in terms of a business or tried to establish a legacy, I mean. If ever the reins were handed to anybody, I think somebody like John David taking on the reins is you can't get better than that, because you've not only have you've made the shop your own in the sense that you put your own kind of mark on it, but you've been very true to the spirit of where it comes from, and that's been really great.
I was laughing because I was just I was about to say, I don't know how Mrs. Reeves would feel about us drinking Old Charter on the air, but then I was laughing more because I realized that Mrs. Reeves' favorite whiskey was actually Early Times.
I was about to say,
which actually makes Old Charter look like Cristal.
Look, somewhere Miss Reeves is shaking her head about the fact that I've given cheap whiskey such a bad name.
That's right, man. As a child of the Depression, she was very frugal and could make good use of a bottle of Early Times. So, but yeah, this is her shop, and we try to carry on her legacy every day.
She's left a great legacy, both not only in the shop but in the legacy of a really fine family here located.
That's right,
in Central Mississippi. Great people and. Man, even me sitting here on the fringes, even having just a little bit to be able to say that I'm get to enjoy this legacy. It's a real honor. So yeah. You do her legacy proud, and yes, indeed, that is kind of the origins of the shop and thus the origins of the show as well.
That's it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, hey, great listener feedback. Yeah, absolutely.
One other feedback I have to mention.
Do it.
And this is actually from a live studio member. He says, this is from Steven. He says, related to our pairing that we have tonight here.
Right.
Of course, we talked about, we had this abominable pairing of Old Charter and this Ardbeg Udagal.
Well, we weren't pairing the two of them.
No, we weren't pairing them, but we compared. We put them in the same episode, which some people.
Oh, that's right here. You can screenshot it. It's happening.
Right, and so he said, if Old Charter, he apparently didn't like the Ardbeg particularly well, and so he said, if the Old Charter is what you drink when you burn a couch, Ardbeg is what the burnt couch tastes like. So
get out. No,
he's fine. Like Ardbeg tastes like the burnt couch. So
Come on, man.
No, I don't know. He's just not. He doesn't care for the that iodine we talked about. He's just not a fan of the iodine.
No, that's fine. It's fine. There's no accounting for taste, clearly. And what?
He don't like the tingle on the front. Tingle on the front.
He much prefers tingle on the back. That's perfectly fine. All right. Well, that's good. That's good, man. It's good to know where your whiskey palate is. Like I kid, of course, because honestly, it's about what you enjoy. If you enjoy some Old Charter, if you enjoy, I don't care if it's the cheapest whiskey out there, or if you just like water or Coke or any other kind of non-alcoholic beverage, that's perfectly fine. What we love to do is pair them up with our favorite pipe tobaccos here on Squire Select, and hopefully in the future we will be bringing you some great Squire Select pairings with pipe tobacco and various products, be it whiskey or otherwise. So
that's right.
That's how I do it. You like that? You like how
you did great. You're such a diplomat.
Right
yeah,
here.
You're such a diplomat.
Doesn't matter how much Old Charter you hand me, I'm keeping it professional. Except when I talk about how professional I am. We want to encourage you to check out the show. Be sure to follow us on the various social media channels. You can, of course, check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/Country Squire Radio. Follow us on Twitter @Squire Radio. You can follow us individually. The Real Bo York is me.
I'm John David Cole, or you can get us at the shop at @_Country Squire.
Of course, @Squire Radio is where you can follow us on Twitter. We've been getting in some great commentary tonight. Always the case for the Squire Select episodes. We get some great live commentary as we've been doing the show. You can find all of that social information and more at countrysquireradio.com, where you can tune in to the live broadcast every single Monday night. You can do that at 6:30 Central Time. Oh, I didn't have it pulled up. Sorry.
You've actually gotten really good at this.
I did get it,
and I want to just mention that. I want to credit that to you, that you've worked hard at this part.
Thank you. 6:30 Pacific Time. That's 7:30 Eastern. Be sure to check us out again. countrysquireradio.com.
Man, I had fun tonight.
I had a great time.
I obviously had a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah.
I think
I feel sorry for our studio audience who's had to sit here like, okay, it's like, hey, let's sit down and watch Bo and John David get as drunk as they possibly can. That's great.
That's not true.
You were the one, Old Charter.
You're the one that drank it.
3 a.m. Enough said. Yeah, I mean, if it's there. If it's there, no, it's Old Charter.
It was. It's delicious. It's a very sippable whiskey. It's something that, I think our friends at Ardbeg would be, proud. We.
I think not, but that's all right. Actually, I'm a little disappointed that I didn't realize that Buffalo Trace was responsible for Old Charter, because I love Buffalo Trace.
Oh, so your understanding and profile of them has gone down
a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding, man. It's good stuff. All right. Well, hey, countrysquireradio.com again. Check us out there. And in the meantime, let's go have a night.
See you, brother.
Thanks so much for everybody tuning into the live show. I apologize.
Hey, I had a great time.
I had a good time.
This was a really fun, experiment we had. We invited some of our closest friends in, to join us tonight.
Happy to have you guys. Thank you so much. Hey, a round of applause for yourselves.
Woo!
Ow! As they've been sitting here baking. See, this is the thing. They get to experience the torture that is sitting in the hot, no air conditioner.
No air conditioner, no smoke
Jackson,
heater. That's right.
It's not as smoky typically, but still.
That's right. And I know, right?
Right up in the air.
Just suck it all up. Hey, one person I'll mention to our live audience that I didn't mention on air, and I meant to. But our good friend, and I meant to do this on the actual part that will be podcasted. But our good friend John Michael is back from Papua New Guinea.
Hey, yes, sir.
And John Michael, he came in today. Round of applause, everyone, for John Michael. John Michael, of course, one of my very closest friends, and missionary in Papua New Guinea. We're very proud of the work he's doing there. But due to some unexpected circumstances, came back on his furlough early, and we were surprised by his presence, or his early return last week, and very pleasantly so. And so anyway, he's joining us tonight and has provided lots of wonderful banter. And we're very thankful he's here. And maybe he'll carve a pipe or two while he's back.
The Fox of Rocks pipes, man.
He is the Fox of Rocks pipe.
Look, I've coined one of Rock's pipes, the Rhino. I have yet to be able to coin a Fox pipe.
A Fox pipe.
So I'm just saying, you're here till January. That's a lot of time. Well, it's a couple months, but wait, you got some good time there.
I'm just saying though, while he's been gone, he's the one that kind of got two into pipe carving.
Yeah.
And while he's been gone, two has since carved several pipes and also won awards.
I'm just saying. You want to talk about one of the most notorious up and coming pipe carvers in the world. I mean, there are two combs.
You do have two combs, and so I don't know. I'm hoping a sense of rivalry and and the industry will be provoked.
I mean, it's almost kind of like, who? I'm sorry. Like I know we got two combs, but there's another Rocks Pipes carver. Is that right?
Yeah, it's the guy that founded Rocks Pipes. What's his name?
I don't remember.
John Michael. That's right. He's been living in the bush for 3 years, right?
Michael John. That's the guy's name. Carved that great Fox pipe that was hasn't happened yet. Yeah, that tickles that. All right. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in.
Y'all have a good night. That's it.